IPL Radio, inspiring passionate lives for the community.
Hello, IPL community. You are here with Karen, and Kez is joining me to interview the epic Kelly Van Nelson. Welcome, Kelly.
Hello, how are you?
I am very good. It's so good to have you joining us. I'm sorry you can't see us, but we can see you and the listeners can see us. But Kelly, you are joining us today from Sydney. You used to be a Perthian, didn't you?
I did for 8 years, and I still miss it. I still miss life there a little bit, but I'm in Sydney now for the last 3 years.
We miss you. Can you imagine if we had Kelly here, Kez?
We'd be partying.
We'd have you on this show every week.
That's it. You could move me into the studio for a gossip.
Oh, okay. Kelly, you are one of my first amazing best-selling authors with Graffiti Lane, which was book one of your poetry collection. And you are, you've been in the corporate world for many years, but you were really drawn to poetry. Can we just chat a bit about Graffiti Lane and how that was a catalyst in your life?
Yeah, Graffiti Lane was this sort of collection of poems I've been writing for many years and never really had an intention of publishing them. I was just writing poetry as a stress relief, and because I could see things out in the world that I wanted to write about. And not long after we met, I pulled them into a collection and I had hundreds of them. And a lot of the poems had this underlying theme around sort of people trying to get messages out around social issues. I'm a deep carer about society and around creating a better world for people. And a lot of the poems had this underlying theme and also had a graffiti urban theme. I come from a working class background in the northeast of England, and I love urban life. So I had a lot of poems about street art and street murals, and the collection Graffiti Lane was formed off the back of that. And it went a little bit crazy. You'll remember, Karen, we published this book about 3 years ago, and it hit this sort of young adult audience and youth audience, and definitely took me by surprise, and went to number one in both Australia and the UK, and things just went crazy from there. We can talk about that a little bit more, but that's how it all sort of started.
It was so exciting, the buzz and the vibe of it. The world was just so ready for it. And I think around that time there was a poet had just went to number one on the New York Times bestseller list. So poetry was starting to trend again, wasn't it? You just know when to hit the market with the right books. Kelly, you have a flair for it.
You're definitely a catalyst in the poetry world, Kelly. And congratulations on Walmart too. That's a huge plus for you.
I know, 6 books in Walmart, can you believe, which is a huge milestone. One was in there, Graffiti Lane got in there quite quickly after it became a bestseller, but all 6 of my books have now made it into Walmart and some into Target as well. And when you hit those big stores, it's really a good feeling, just in terms of distribution.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a fun journey, this publishing malarkey. And we ended up bringing Graffiti Lane out in a beautiful collection because we've seen all of the street art that went with, and it is just the most exquisite collector's edition. We just love that. That was about a year or two after, wasn't it? We done the release.
Yeah, it was. We fused street photography and a lot of pictures around these beautiful street, paintings. A lot of them from the walls of Melbourne and the laneways, others from Sydney and just around the world of this sort of collection, and paired these beautiful street photos with the poems. And we got this really visual collection together and produced this limited edition, which I'm super proud of.
Have you got it there to show up? Because
I haven't got the limited collection, but I have got Graffiti Lane. I've got this one here. That's the original cover, which kicked everything off, and definitely snowballed in terms of the writing career.
Yeah. And was it fun travelling around Sydney taking the photographs?
Yeah, it was. I always seem to spot, I'm going to say graffiti, but by graffiti I don't mean vandalism and sort of people, damaging properties. I do mean this beautiful contemporary art form from some amazingly talented artists that are often misunderstood or misrepresented. That's right. So I do. I often try and watch out for it, and I will snap away. And I've got a lot of photographs sitting there. But the limited collection I actually paired with a far better photographer than me, a chap called Paul Unstead out of Melbourne. he's got a great eye and took a lot of the pictures that are in this book.
You know what I love doing is watching the railways and the railway cars with all the graffiti on them. I think that's just magic because you're sitting there stuck in traffic and you're watching all this art go by, and I don't think anyone realises that it's actual art.
Yeah, that's right. It's so visual, and that's what I love about it. I love that about poetry as well. You've got the words, you've got the words there, but you can actually do so much with the visual representation
That's
of
right.
poetry as well, and how you space it and how you lay it out. And I play with that a lot. Karen will know, being my publisher, how many times I edit a manuscript over and over again to get it perfect visually, as well as what the words are trying to say and the messages they convey.
But that would come from your corporate world, wanting it to be perfect.
Quite possibly, yeah. I've been more than 2 decades in the corporate world, and yeah, definitely I'm a big proofreader of everything I produce.
Good for you.
I think that you're very much a leader in the poetry space, and Graffiti Lane is book 1 of 3. We had Punch and Judy and retrospective. So show us Punch and Judy, which was also it was brought out, though it was as if Kelly can foresee the topics of conversations that are going to happen. So Punch and Judy we were already in production with that, and then the whole the whole thing came out about DV and all of that, and all of these things started to happen around that. And this, we actually should bring this to light for the 16 days of WA that's actually happening here at the moment. And Punch and Judy collection, just get the conversation. These poetry books are not only engrossing and to read and to connect with. I remember publishing Punch and Judy and just wow, it just brought something out of me. But the conversations that happen around these books being released is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Punch and Judy started off as a modern love collection of love poems and relationships today, which are really imperfect. I don't know a single perfect relationship out there. And it developed into, relationships that go south and get into some problems, and then into domestic violence. And they're really, that darker side of relationships. And I really wanted to generate conversation around this topic. And I had a lot of women reach out, and a lot of people resonate with this particular book around challenging relationships and the courage that women have. Not just women, actually, it can happen to men too, but the courage that people have staying in the relationship for various reasons, or making the decision to leave. And yeah, it definitely generated a lot of discussion around this particular topic. And during lockdown, DV was definitely on the increase, so it was quite timely and resonated with quite a few readers.
Did you find that during lockdown that a lot of poetry happened to all sorts of people we didn't even think had a bit of poetry in them? They were suddenly writing their lines down. I was amazed at what was said to me, and what do you think, and what do you say? It was a hard choice of, well, I'm not an editor, I'm not a proofreader, but it was what happened to me emotionally was I was reading all these poems and thinking it's very real. I mean, I have a relationship for a very long time, but it's not perfect. I don't, but I like that side of it. I like the non-perfect side of it because it gives me a chance to wave my finger in there and say, "Listen to me, just listen to me."
Be heard, don't be silent.
That's right.
And one of the things that Kez is touching on there as well, Kelly, is, like poetry, the resurgence of poetry and all of these poetry groups that connected people during COVID, and lockdowns, like that was unforeseen as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. I guess poets have always been there around the world, but the lockdowns really brought us all together as a worldwide community, actually. And there were so many events started to take place online, and I started to do online poetry slams. I had done a couple of live ones beforehand, but nothing like, what we did during lockdown in terms of virtual events. So the literary world and the community became much smaller. I made such good friends from all over the world and connected, and some amazingly talented poets, and both slam poets and written poets. And remain really good friends with them now. And it just was an era, that contemporary poets especially just came to the front of, the art form and got their work out into this brand new online domain. It was very, very cool.
Is so absolutely cool. And then book 3 was born, retrospective, and how cool and fun was that? You know, after the, you know, that we, yeah, it's so fun, awesome retro vibe. It's just just so fun, and you had so much fun with the photos around that, the promos.
I haven't got that book yet.
Oh, have you now?
Our publisher's very slack, so I haven't got.
I
that book
apologize. We'll get it to you. we hear a review coming on. Kelly.
yet. I'd love to review. In fact, you know, it wouldn't hurt to review all 3 of your poetry books again, because they're effective and they resound with people.
Yeah, catalyst for change. They really are. We have Ali here. She wants to say hi.
Hello, good morning. How are you, Kelly Van Nelson?
We've got a full house here. We want you here in with us.
Oh
with a
my
big
God. Yeah, that would be so cool. That would be such a complimentary team. The A-team.
beam you up from Sydney. But Kelly, thank you so much for joining us, and what we hope to have you in on the show again soon. And we're opening up my store on Thursday, and both Kez and Ali are going to be there, and your books will be there, so you'll be there in spirit on Thursday. But hopefully borders open and you'll get over here, and we can have some fun.
Can't wait.
Exactly, and hopefully there'll be book 7 by the time I get there.
Yes.
I'm working hard.
That's a wrap.
Amazing. Just before you leave, I love the magic of how Kelly pulls her poetry books together. She sits in the essence of the poems and pulls them in together into a theme, and then it's just an amazing way to watch her work. And then you see the end product. Like, the end product is not what started with. There's hundreds and hundreds of poems that she has to choose from. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's true. And then I match my image.
Yes.
I go through this little personal image change as well. I have a teenage daughter, so I try and play with the look and the promotion, and I did that with graffiti, and I did it a lot with retrospective, which has this 80s vibe, and I did the whole 80s hair and
Yes.
80s
So fun.
eyeshadow, and got stuck into my childhood roots and the whole boombox era.
Yes.
So yeah, I have a lot of fun with it now.
Yeah,
I'm really
it is
enjoying
fun,
it.
isn't it? Poetry can be fun as well. All right, Kelly, can you just hold on there for a second, because us 3 ladies are going to get a picture with you behind us. But for everyone watching and listening, we are going to go to Cyndi Lauper. Girls Just Want to Have Fun.